This computer. Go ahead.
Okay, so usually when we do an Hartree-Fock calculation, we want to minimize the energy and target the ground state, but it's possible to target other stationary point of our Hartree-Fock energy, and this other stationary point might represent excited states. And so one such method is called the maximum overlap method. And so first, I will briefly recall the Artrifec method and the equation, and just to after emphasize the differences between the maximum overlap method and the Artrifec, the usual Artrifec algorithm. So in the Artrifec method, we use this type of wave function, which is a Slater determinant. I think I forgot the normalization factor, but yes, it's a determinant of spin orbitals. And so we have n spin orbitals, which is with n the number of electrons. And so this is an antisymmetric combination of spin orbitals. And we can evaluate the Hartree-Fock energy, which is so the expectation value of those Slater determinant. And so we have here the energy, the one electron energy associated with the spin orbital I, and so the Coulomb part and the exchange part, which are given by those equations. And so the idea is to minimize this energy according to the variational principle to find the ground state energy, so usually. And one can show that to minimize this energy, it is equivalent to, okay, yes, sorry. So we usually we search the minimum, but here we target general stationary point. Yes, just a zero of the derivative of the Hartree-Fock energy. And usually we, when it is equivalent to diagonalize this Fock operator, and if we take the n lowest spin, so eigenfunction, and we occupy them, so it's equivalent to minimize the Hartree-Fock energy. So, and so this Fock operator, so there is this one electron part and the two electron Hartree-Fock part, so which is an approximation to the two electron Coulomb repulsion, the exact Coulomb repulsion. And so usually we always take the n lowest eigenfunction, because it ensures that we always minimize the energy, and we want to find the ground state energy. So that's yes, logic. But in fact, there are other possibilities. So in practice, this to solve this eigenvalue equation, we need to expand our spin orbital in a basis. So those phi mu here. So the basis set, so we call K the size of our basis set. And the eigenvalue problem expressed in this basis set becomes the root and all equation. So here we have the Fock matrix, the coefficient of the expansion. So here the Fock matrix is yes, the matrix element of the Fock operator in the basis set of the phi mu, the orbital, the overlap matrix, which is yes, like the metric of this basis set, and so the epsilon I, which are the eigenvalue. And so the Fock matrix is a K K cross K matrix. So there is a K eigenfunction. And yes, oh sorry. So this is the expression of the Fock operator. So yes, so the one electron part, the matrix element of the one electron part, the density matrix that we will see later on the next slide, and the two electron integrals. Oh, sorry, here you should exchange sigma and lambda, and so that's the two electron integral for the Coulomb and the exchange part. So sorry for this mistake. And so this Fock matrix, this is a K cross K matrix. So there are K eigenfunction, but we just want to occupy n electrons, and this information is in fact in the density matrix because the density matrix depends on n coefficient. So these n coefficients are the occupied orbitals, and so in fact, so there are n among k possibilities to form this density matrix, because as you can see here, this Fock matrix depends on the density matrix, which depends on the coefficient. So it is a self-consistent equation, and at each cycle we need to choose the n orbitals that we will use to create the density matrix, and that we will use to recreate our root and all equation, and that we will diagonalize again. And so we need to find a consistent way of choosing this n orbital. So when we target the ground state, that's pretty direct, because we always choose the n lowest because we want to minimize the energy. But when we target excited states, it's really difficult, because there are so many possibilities, and during your self-consistent process, the excited energy might cross or something like that. So you cannot just say always take the third lowest and the 5/5 highest energy, and it will not. It's not a general method to target excited state within the Hartree-Fock self-consistent algorithm. So we need to find a way to do this, to target excited state at this mean field level. And so one way to do this is the maximum overlap method. So these are the two papers. So this one from 2008 and another from 2018, which is a slight modification of the maximum overlap method, called the initial maximum overlap method. So I will present you the difference just after. So the idea is that at each cycle, you compute this orbital overlap matrix, so O, using the coefficient of at the n cross n matrix. It's a K cross n matrix. Here you have the orbital, the overlap matrix of your basis set. So n, which is a K cross K matrix, and this coefficient. So you have not choose which n you are going to take for the moment. So this is still a n cross n matrix, and you want K cross K matrix, and you want to choose n coefficient in this new one. And so you compute this matrix, and after you project on the old occupied subspace, and so you have those KPI, which correspond to the projection of each new, which correspond to the orbital, the overlap of each new orbital with the old occupied subspace. And what you do is to always take the n largest overlap, and it gives you a way to choose it gives you a criterion to choose n among k orbitals. And so doing this, so they do a RHF calculation, so usual one. Then they just excite two, like 1 or 2 electrons, so and they form a non-Aufbau determinant. They use the non-Aufbau determinant as their first C hold, and after they propagate this through the SCF cycle, and doing this, they have been able to converge to other stationary point of the Hartree-Fock energy, and they showed in their first paper that it gives a quite good excitation energies for singly excited states. But they also remark that there are problems when you target a doubly excited state, because when you start from a non-Aufbau determinant, you cannot be sure that each time that you do this and you propagate through your SCF cycle, you cannot be sure that there will not be a variational collapse onto the ground state finally. And they remark that in practice, it was really harder to target doubly excited state because there was often variational collapse on the ground state. So they used modified maximum overlap method, which they called the initial maximum overlap method. The difference is that you always compute the overlap matrix with your initial non-Aufbau determinant, and you no more use C, so the coefficient at the previous step. And they also change the way they project on the old occupied surface. So they use this equation, whereas in the previous method it was just the sum. So yeah, it's the sum of the squared element and the square root of this sum. And so using this initial maximum overlap method, they have been able to converge onto a stationary point of the Artrifec energy and corresponding to double excitation. Okay. And do you have question?
Thank you.